Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm meadsy69 and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be having a look at the IS-6. The IS-6, the old-time favourite tank. The most popular tank. Now, this tank, when I first joined Blitz, was probably one of the most OP tanks in the game. And what I mean by that, like, you used to have platoons of these every single game. 2 IS-6s in a platoon was just OP. But since then, things have changed. There's been more tanks, there's been more tier 8 premium tanks, and this has just been power crept. And it's even though it's there, anyone can buy it. You still see a little bit of them in battle, but it's not fun. It's not fun anymore. Like, why would I play the IS-6 when I can go and play the Object 252U or the WZ11-2 or whatever it is? Like, there's just no point. However, this has just been buffed. It has had an armor buff, and I said in my update video that I don't think you're gonna see too much difference. And if I'm honest, I have rolled it out a few games and I can't really. It's hard to tell. It's hard to tell if the armor buff has actually made a difference. Personally, I don't see it. I don't feel the change. I don't see the change. You can get troll bounces. You can get troll bounces. You always would. You always was able to get the troll bounces, but I can't notice the buff as well at all. I mean, some people have said that the IS-6 is now OP, but honestly, I don't feel the buff. I mean, an armor buff was welcome, but I honestly don't. I can't see it. I can't see it. Maybe that's just me. I don't know. Maybe you guys have not noticed it if you've been playing it. I don't know. But the IS-6 used to be a fun tank. I mean, it used to be a fun tank because it was one of the only tanks, or one of a few tanks, that had preferential matchmaking. And what that means for you new guys is this never see, when it was +2, -2 matchmaking, when tier 8s used to see tier 10, the IS-6 used to have the preferential matchmaking along with, I think, the KV5, the Type 59. They never used to see tier 10. So the highest you would see is tier 9. So back then, that was a big thing. And that is why so many people rolled out in 2 IS-6s. 2 IS-6s back then versus tier 7s. I mean, again, back then, there were no Type 62s. There were no Draculas. There was no Helsins. There was nothing like them. There was no Smashers. So the IS-6 was the tank to get, and the Lerva and the T-34, but this was the tank that everyone wanted to get because of that preferential matchmaking. But as I've said, since then, it really has been power crept, and I never play this tank. And it's the same with the IS-6 Fearless. Obviously, whoever owns the IS-6 Fearless, whoever earned it in however they've earned it, ratings, etc., that was a big thing back then. Like, to get the IS-6 Fearless was a big thing because it is, and it probably still is now, the rarest tank in the game. More rarer than the Keniotsu. And it's exactly the same tank, just reskinned. I do have both. And they both did get the armor buff. So I was actually going to play the IS-6 Fearless, just to, why not? But I thought, no, you know, it's an IS-6 video. I'm going to play the IS-6, and I haven't actually rolled out my IS-6 for quite a few years. That's how long it is. If I've ever fancied playing the IS-6, I would play the IS-6 Fearless. To be honest, like, I could even sell this tank. It means nothing to me because I do have that Fearless. Same as the T-34. I have the T-34 and I have the T-34 Independence. Both exactly the same. I don't know why I own both. I have no idea. Just for the collecting and the aces. But now I have them all. I could sell them, but there's no point. You only get credits. I've got 130 odd million credits. So there's no point. So the IS-6 was always, I mean, 7,400, 7,600 gold, something like that. You can purchase it whenever you want. It is in the tech tree. You can purchase this tank whenever you want, and it is cheaper than all the other tier 6s, tier 8s, sorry, that come for sale. But does it do the job? I mean, yes, it can do the job. I'm not going to say it's an absolute shite tank. It can do the job. It's a heavy. It's a Russian heavy that's got armor. That if you side scrape, if you hold down, you're gonna get bounces. But nowadays, there's just much more tanks that is more fun than this. And I wouldn't go in my garage and think, you know what, I'm gonna go and play the IS-6. I mean, I would pick an Object 252U over this any day of the week. So depending what tanks you've got in tier 8, if you have got no heavies, no premium heavies, then yes, of course, like I would recommend buying the IS-6, because it's still a good tank. It still does its job. It is still solid, especially when you are top tier. It can still bounce. You do need to get those angles right. You do need to side scrape right, because it has got quite a few weak points, and that's what frustrates me in this tank. It does have a few weak points, where, say, the Object 252U, really the only big weak point is the bottom plate, is the pike nose bottom plate, and it's quite big. Where this, you've got the bottom plate, you've got the front plate, you've got the turret, the hatches. There's just too many. There's just too many weak points in this tank, so that's why I don't enjoy it, because there's just way too many. So I wish they made either the front plate impenable, so you can't actually pen it really, really strong, but you can pen the middle. You can pen right in the middle. It's really, really easy to pen, along with the bottom plate and the hatches. So I do wish they had actually made at least one of them disappear. Either make the hatches not pennable, or make the front plate not pennable, just the bottom plate, or make the bottom plate not pennable, but the top plate you can. Then I think it would be a very, very strong tank, and it would definitely be worth buying and worth playing. But at the minute, it's just been power crept. It does feel like a pay to win now in tier 8, because there's just so many other heavies that are better than the IS-6. So just because there is other tanks that is better than this, as I've said before, and as I've said again, it doesn't mean it can't do its job. If you play it right, you will have a good game. Now, this game, I was literally sniping. I was naughty. There was targets, and now I noticed that the Borzik is to the left. Now, the aim time on this is 6 seconds. The aim time is poor. The dispersion's quite poor. It is a Russian heavy, so it's expected. So you do have to take your time in taking your shot, choosing your targets wisely, making sure you don't miss, because, I mean, the DPM's not fantastic as it is, so always try and use that couple of seconds extra to get fully aimed in, and just so you guarantee your pen. So this game now, it's a 3 versus 5. It's a 3 versus 5. I'm on 2.8 or 2.7k damage. We do got a kill. We are losing on supremacy points only just, and now there is 4 tanks. So the CDC is spotted, and as you can see, we do get the bounce. And as I said, you get bounces in this tank. You can get bounces in this tank if you face hug, side hug, hold down, side scraping. If you do all these, then you will guarantee to get some bounces. You can't guarantee to bounce everything. You're not going to bounce everything. I mean, this game I can't really tell, because we've only bounced 1 shot from the CDC, and we are still full hit points. So we've now bring it down to a 3 versus 2. We've got the AMX M445 there. There is a Jag Tiger 8.8 somewhere, and at the minute I'm thinking that guy is AFK. So I'm gonna rush this AMX with my Tiger P. I want to try and keep my Tiger P alive if I can. So I am going to go in front of him, get the shot, and hopefully he does shoot me. And as you can see there, easy pen for him, easy pen. And now I'm just going to let the ISU deal with this AMX, and I'm going to go and find the Jag. Now, I didn't realise he was spotted at this time. He's spotted, and I'm still heading, and it was only until now I realised he is spotted. And he's a 1-shot, so I am going to back down. I'm going to load the heat, because, as I've said, the pen on these tanks are not the greatest. I just want to guarantee the pen, and I do manage to take him out. So that is the IS-6. It's still worth getting, but all depends on what other tier 8 heavies you own in your garage. Hope you enjoyed it, guys. I'm Meadsy, and I'll catch you soon. Bye-bye.
with